What happens when an R&B heartthrob's greatest hits are slowly eclipsed by a mounting pile of police reports and court filings? For years, Trey Songz sat atop the music industry as the self-proclaimed Trigga, a persona built on charisma and smooth vocals. But behind the velvet ropes of the world's most exclusive nightclubs, a different story was being documented. Why did a 2025 night out in Manhattan end with a nightclub worker breaking her silence and a staggering bill for property damage? How did a man who once had the unwavering support of industry titans like 50 Cent find himself publicly banned from the very events he used to headline? We are looking beyond the headlines to analyze a decade of reported incidents, from closet ambushes to high-stakes legal settlements. Is this a narrative of a star targeted by fame, or a psychological study in the consequences of unchecked power? The Manhattan Meltdown, December 17th, 2025. The reported events of December 17, 2025 in Midtown Manhattan served as a stark realization that for Trey Songz, the nightclub environment had shifted from a place of professional celebration to a consistent legal liability. The primary incident unfolded at Mira NYC and Hookah Lounge, a popular destination where the atmosphere reportedly soured in the early morning hours. According to law enforcement accounts and the subsequent criminal complaint, what began as a night of recreation ended with a significant destruction of property and a series of criminal charges that would once again put the singer's public persona under intense scrutiny. A nightclub worker at Mira became the focal point of a narrative involving a chaotic breakdown in order. The allegations were detailed, describing a situation where property damage was not just incidental but substantial. Reports indicated that during the disturbance, Neverson was allegedly responsible for ruining approximately $1,500 worth of venue property. The list of damaged items was specific. DJ equipment, sofas, and multiple hookah setups were reportedly destroyed. This level of damage led to a felony charge of second-degree criminal mischief, a serious legal escalation that carries a potential prison sentence of up to 7 years under New York law. However, the legal situation was more complex than a single night of trouble. Upon his arrest for the Mira incident, authorities discovered that Neverson was already wanted for a separate unprovoked assault that had allegedly occurred more than a week prior. On December 4, 2025, at Drama nightclub in Times Square, a staff member reported that Neverson became needlessly irate after being informed the venue was closing. The worker claimed that Neverson punched him in the face, causing swelling and substantial pain. These two separate reported incidents, occurring in such close proximity, established a narrative of volatility that seemed to follow the artist from one Manhattan venue to the next. The defense presented by Neverson's legal team, led by attorney Mitchell Schuster, introduced a narrative of instigation and self-defense. Schuster claimed that at the Mira Lounge, Neverson was confronted by individuals who purposefully attempted to surround and provoke him. The defense argued that security was forced to intervene to protect the singer, and the reported property damage occurred in the ensuing confusion of the struggle. This framing suggests a world where a celebrity is a constant target for those seeking financial gain or social media headlines. Yet for the public and the legal system, the repetition of these confusions began to look less like coincidence and more like a behavioral pattern. The Manhattan Meltdown was a symbolic moment for an industry already wary of Neverson's reputation. When he left the Manhattan criminal court wearing a black face mask, released on his own recognizance, he was not just leaving a building, he was walking back into a culture that was increasingly tired of the same headlines. The core question remained, is this a story of a public figure being targeted, or is it a documentation of an individual who consistently loses control when the lights go down and the doors begin to close? Bet that. The Terrence Crawford confrontation. The confrontation between Trey Songz and the world champion boxer, Terrence "Bud" Crawford, in February 2025, offered a rare documented look at how the singer's temper can alienate even the most elite members of the sports world. The incident took place during a celebrity basketball event hosted by 50 Cent as part of his Tycoon weekend in Las Vegas. According to Crawford, who detailed the exchange in a comprehensive interview with the Cigar Talk podcast, the friction began with something as minor as a $100 jump shooting contest. Crawford, a pound-for-pound king known for his discipline, recounted that the situation tested his patience in a way few public interactions ever do. The behavioral pattern expansion in this chapter focuses on the moment the playfulness ended. Crawford alleged that after he made his shot and Neverson missed, the singer refused to pay the wager and began to act in an increasingly audacious manner. The confrontation nearly turned physical when Neverson reportedly began to antagonize the fighter, ignoring the massive disparity in their professional combat skills. Crawford noted that he was taken aback by Neverson's behavior, even questioning if the singer was under the influence at the time. He humorously recounted warning Neverson to go over there and start singing to somebody. a direct jab at the singer's refusal to respect the boundaries of the environment. Analytical lenses suggest that this dispute was symptomatic of a larger issue regarding ego and public masculinity. In a room full of alphas and high performers, the need to assert dominance often leads to emotional escalation. Reports circulated that the tension was further fueled by Neverson's sensitivity regarding his social standing and his interactions with women at the event, specifically following rumors involving influencer Mulan Hernandez. This reflected a recurring psychological pattern where Neverson seemingly viewed every public space as a stage for his own bravado. The most telling part of the narrative is the role played by 50 Cent. As the host of the event, 50 Cent was reportedly forced to intervene to prevent a physical altercation that would have been disastrous for the R&B singer. This intervention by a major industry gatekeeper serves as a significant signal of Neverson's eroding social capital. For 50 Cent, who has long navigated high-profile disputes, the need to save Neverson from a fight with a world-class boxer was likely a turning point. It highlights a shift where Neverson was no longer seen as a peer to be respected, but a liability to be managed. When we analyze the Tycoon Weekend incident, we see a clear example of private disputes becoming public spectacles. The story went viral not just because of the names involved, but because it reinforced a narrative that Neverson trips over minor perceived slights. For an artist whose career was built on being the cool, collected heartthrob, these reports of acting crazy over a basketball game and a small bet indicated a deep-seated instability. The Terrence Crawford confrontation remains a pivotal moment in the Neverson timeline, representing the point where the industry's elite began to openly discuss the singer as someone whose presence was no longer worth the risk of a disruption. The $20 million Secret, Miami 2018 to 2025. The multi-layered legal battle between Trey Songz and Jawara Jeffries represents one of the most significant financial and reputational threats of the artist's career. The origins of this dispute trace back to the early hours of New Year's Day in 2018 at E11 Even Miami, a world-famous venue known for its high-stakes nightlife. Jeffries, who initially filed her claims as a Jane Doe before revealing her identity, alleged that while she was dancing on a couch at a private table, Neverson sexually violated her. According to the court filings, Jeffries claimed she felt fingers being inserted into her without consent, and when she turned around, she saw the singer pulling his hand away. The narrative detailed in the $20 million lawsuit extends far beyond the dance floor of the nightclub. Jeffries alleged that the situation escalated after she and her friends left the venue in a vehicle with Neverson. During the ride, she claimed that Neverson removed his shirt, causing her to feel a heightened sense of imminent peril. Fearing for her safety, she reportedly began recording the singer on her phone. This move allegedly infuriated Neverson, who supposedly tried to seize the device. When Jeffries refused to hand it over, the suit claims Neverson instructed his driver to stop the vehicle and forcibly remove her. The plaintiff alleged that the driver violently pulled her from the car while Neverson pushed her, ultimately throwing her onto the street where he allegedly berated her and threw water in her face. Analytical framing of this case requires looking at the grueling 7-year legal timeline that followed. The lawsuit moved through several stages, including a technical dismissal and a refiling, as the $20 million demand for medical expenses and emotional distress hung over Neverson's brand. In September 2025, just weeks before the matter was scheduled to go before a jury, a confidential settlement was reached. Judge Antonio Arzola dismissed the case as to all parties, noting that the court had been advised of a resolution. It is a critical distinction that a settlement is a strategic tool used by high-profile figures to avoid the unpredictability of a trial. It is not a legal admission of the alleged acts. However, the Jeffries case did not exist in a vacuum. It acted as a pillar for a broader pattern of Jane Doe allegations that emerged during the same period. In 2016 and 2021, other women came forward with claims of non-consensual encounters, often represented by the same legal team led by attorney Ariel Mitchell. Neverson's defense consistently attacked the credibility of these claims, at one point accusing the legal team of witness tampering by allegedly offering a woman $100,000 to provide false testimony. These counter-allegations created a toxic atmosphere of claims versus conspiracies that defined the singer's public presence for years. The core question for cultural analysts is how these settlements function as a form of reputational management. While the $20 million secret was technically resolved in 2025, the graphic details of the reported Miami street abandonment and the nightclub violation remain permanent parts of the digital record. For an industry that is increasingly sensitive to the treatment of women, the settlement may have closed the legal books, but it did not necessarily heal the reputational rift. The Jeffries lawsuit serves as a primary example of how a star's private actions when documented in a courtroom, can create a financial and moral debt that takes nearly a decade to settle. Hiding in the closet, the Keke Palmer ambush. In January 2017, the narrative surrounding Trey Songz shifted from anonymous allegations to a public confrontation with one of the most respected figures in the industry, Keke Palmer. The incident, which Palmer detailed in a series of visceral social media posts and subsequent interviews, provided a rare and disturbing look at how power dynamics can be weaponized in supposedly creative environments. Palmer alleged that while visiting a studio where Neverson was filming a music video for his remix of Pick Up the Phone, she was subjected to what she termed sexual intimidation in an attempt to coerce her into appearing in the project. The most striking detail of Palmer's account was her claim that she resorted to hiding in a closet to escape the pressure. According to Palmer, she had repeatedly and explicitly declined to be filmed, citing that she had been drinking and felt the professional setting was compromised. Despite her refusal, she claimed that Neverson and his associates continued to push, using their masculinity and sexuality to taunt her. Palmer described a situation where the artist allegedly used food and alcohol as tools to make her buckle, eventually leading her to hide because she was so afraid of further conflict. The violation became public when a fan alerted Palmer that she had been included in the video anyway, having been secretly filmed after being told she was only being shown an idea. Analytical lenses focus on the specific language Palmer used to describe the experience. She spoke of the sexism and misogyny inherent in a situation where a man she had known since she was 12 years old allegedly ignored her professional boundaries. In a candid interview with Larry King, Palmer explained that sexual intimidation involves a male using his masculinity to make a woman feel small or pressured. She likened the experience to a party where a dominant figure repeatedly suggests that a woman is no longer a little girl as a way to undermine her consent. This was not a story of a stranger. This was a public statement from a peer who felt her brand and her personhood were being treated as communal property. The response from Neverson at the time was one of dismissive frustration. He took to Twitter to suggest that Palmer was overreacting, stating that she could have simply called his phone rather than airing her grievances on social media. This response highlighted a significant disconnect in their relationship. While Neverson viewed the situation as a private misunderstanding among friends, Palmer viewed it as a fundamental violation of business and personal ethics. The industry implication of this ambush was profound. It signaled a shift where female artists began to publicly discuss the informal warning systems they used to navigate around certain male peers. The Keke Palmer incident served as a watershed moment for the Trigga brand. It moved the conversation away from the nightclub scene and into the professional realm of music production, revealing a pattern of reported behavior that made even established stars feel unsafe. Palmer's decision to pursue legal action, despite the video being removed, was a statement that no means no, regardless of fame or friendship. This chapter of the Neverson saga remains a critical case study in how private industry concerns can transform into public warnings, forever altering the way the audience views the artist's interactions with his female colleagues. Big Ol' Freak, the Megan Thee Stallion warning. The public interaction between Trey Songz and Megan Thee Stallion in 2019 serves as a cultural case study in the rapid erosion of the singer's social capital. At the time, Megan was a rising force in hip-hop, riding the massive success of her breakout hit Big Ol' Freak. Neverson attempted to capitalize on her momentum by taking to Twitter to publicly shoot his shot. He posted a provocative message suggesting he wanted to knock the stallion head off for the culture, a phrase that combined hyper-masculine bravado with a play on her stage name. In previous years, such a public overture from an R&B heavyweight might have been seen as a flattering professional endorsement. However, the cultural climate had shifted, and the warning signs regarding Neverson's behavior were already beginning to solidify. The reaction from Megan Thee Stallion was immediate and became a viral example of a female artist asserting boundaries. She tweeted back that Neverson can't handle me, accompanied by laughing emojis that stripped the Trigga persona of its perceived power. While the exchange was framed as lighthearted banter, cultural analysts noted that it was an effective public block. Megan's response signaled that she was not interested in being another notch in the Mr. Steal Yo Girl narrative. This immediate distancing was particularly significant given Neverson's history of reported incidents involving peer coercion, such as the Keke Palmer ambush just 2 years prior. Reputation shift analysis suggests that by 2019, top-tier female artists were becoming increasingly wary of being linked to Neverson in any romantic or highly sexualized capacity. While rumors later surfaced of the two looking cozy at his 35th birthday party, Megan was quick to shut down any speculation of a romantic involvement. She bluntly asked her fans on Twitter, "Why y'all want me to be a hoe so bad?" and clarified that she was not dating the singer. This pattern of a female peer feeling the need to explicitly deny a connection reflects a growing reputational risk associated with the singer. The Megan Thee Stallion interaction was a symbolic representation of a larger industry trend where female empowerment was no longer just a lyrical theme, but a professional survival strategy. For Megan, a Houston native like Neverson's father, the connection could have been a natural collaboration. Instead, it became a moment of public correction. The core tension lay in the fact that while Neverson was still operating on an outdated blueprint of R&B dominance, his peers were moving toward a model where mutual respect and clear consent were the new standards. The Big Old Freak warning proved that the charm which once defined Neverson's career was losing its ability to grant him access to the industry's most powerful new voices. The Savage Allegations, 2022, Las Vegas DNA. In late 2021 and early 2022, the city of Las Vegas became the epicenter of a high-stakes legal crisis for Trey Songz. The situation began with a reported criminal investigation by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department following the singer's 37th birthday celebrations at a strip hotel. While the police eventually concluded their investigation in April 2022 without filing criminal charges, the civil litigation that followed introduced some of the most harrowing allegations of the artist's career. Represented by attorney Ariel Mitchell, a plaintiff filed a lawsuit detailing an encounter that allegedly transformed from a social gathering into a scene of savage brutality. The specific allegations in the 2022 litigation describe an encounter at a Las Vegas hotel that the plaintiff claims turned violent. According to the court documents, the woman alleged that after what began as a consensual meeting, Neverson's behavior shifted into a physical assault. The filing detailed reported injuries so severe they required immediate and intensive medical intervention. To support the narrative of a victim in crisis, the lawsuit introduced a third-party witness, a reported Uber driver. The plaintiff claimed that after she fled the hotel room in a state of undress, leaving her belongings behind, she entered an Uber. The driver, seeing her visible distress and physical condition, reportedly bypassed her home and drove her directly to the emergency care unit at Providence Joseph Medical Center in Burbank, California. The analytical lens on this case is sharpened by the introduction of this medical trail. The documentation of a sexual assault exam and counseling at a major medical facility provided a layer of corroboration that public discourse found difficult to ignore. In these high-stakes cases, the role of a neutral third party, like an Uber driver or a medical professional, acts as a bridge between a reported private incident and a public legal claim. For Neverson, whose defense team consistently maintained his innocence, the presence of these witnesses to the aftermath represented a significant reputational challenge that went beyond the usual social media debates. However, the 2022 Las Vegas chapter was also defined by a fierce legal counteroffensive. Neverson's attorneys, Jeffrey Neiman and Derek Volrath, filed explosive motions accusing the plaintiff's legal team of witness tampering. A woman named Mariah Thielen testified that Ariel Mitchell had offered her a sum between $100,000 and $200,000 to change her story and claimed she had also been assaulted by the singer. Mitchell vehemently denied these claims, calling them defamatory and noting that she had already been cleared of such allegations by the Florida bar. This war of the witnesses created a stalemate in the court of public opinion, where the gravity of the savage allegations was pitted against the reported misconduct of the legal process itself. The Las Vegas incident reinforced a recurring theme in the Neverson saga: the distress of the aftermath. Whether the legal cases resulted in dismissals or settlements, the documented accounts of women fleeing rooms half naked and seeking emergency medical care became a permanent part of the celebrity's history. The 2022 Las Vegas DNA serves as a reminder that the volume of an allegation can often speak louder than its final legal outcome. As the investigation concluded without a conviction, the public was left to reconcile the graphic reports of the Uber ride with the singer's adamant denials, leaving the Trigga legacy in a state of perpetual, unresolved tension. The 50 Cent ban, "I'm Not Bringing Him Back." The public fallout between Trey Songz and 50 Cent in 2022 marked a significant shift in the industry's tolerance for the R&B singer's extracurricular conduct. For years, 50 Cent had been one of Neverson's most vocal supporters, even using his Instagram platform in 2018 to defend the singer against domestic violence allegations, dismissing them as a money play. Their relationship was so intertwined that in 2019, 50 Cent replaced the classic theme song of his hit show Power with a version recorded by Trey Songz, a move that signaled deep professional trust and personal friendship. However, by late 2022, that alliance collapsed under the weight of repeated property damage and what the G-Unit mogul described as crazy behavior. The breaking point arrived during the annual Tycoon weekend in Houston. a high-profile celebration of Black excellence and entrepreneurship. On August 31st, 2022, 50 Cent posted a photograph of Neverson to his Instagram account with the words "banned from Tycoon" written across the image in bold, capitalized letters. In the caption, he detailed a history of destructive incidents that had reportedly turned the singer from a guest into a liability. 50 Cent claimed that during the previous Tycoon event, Neverson had crashed a Wraith, a reference to a luxury Rolls-Royce vehicle. He further alleged that at the 2022 event, Neverson was acting erratically, wanting to fight over women, and physically destroying property within his hotel room. Analytical framing suggests that this ban was more than a social media troll. It was a form of informal industry discipline. For an artist like Neverson, who has long navigated high-energy nightlife environments, the loss of 50 Cent's endorsement was a major blow to his social capital. 50 Cent's public distancing served as a warning to other promoters and event organizers that the Trigga brand had become too volatile to manage. The mogul's statement, "Nah, tell it Trey Songz, he can't come," signaled that the personal friendship could no longer excuse the professional disruption. This outcome highlights a broader industry trend where the cost of a celebrity's presence, measured in property damage and security risks, begins to outweigh their commercial value. The property damage claims were particularly significant because they mirrored the reports coming out of the Manhattan nightclub scene. By alleging that Neverson was breaking sheened up in his room, 50 Cent provided a high-profile corroboration of the destructive guest narrative that had been building in the singer's legal filings. This was no longer a case of anonymous plaintiffs making claims for financial gain. It was a billionaire entertainment executive declaring that the singer was a danger to the environment. The psychological pattern here reveals a man who seemingly felt empowered to treat exclusive spaces with a level of disregard that eventually alienated even his most loyal gatekeepers. When we reconcile the 50 Cent ban with the rest of Neverson's timeline, it functions as a definitive end to his era of impunity. The man who was once Mr. Steal Yo Girl had become the man who crashed six-figure cars and broke hotel furniture over perceived social slights. The public nature of the ban ensured that the narrative of Neverson as a liability was firmly established in the cultural record. And by the time 50 Cent officially stated, "I'm not bringing him back," it was clear that the industry had moved into a new phase of gatekeeping, one where talent was no longer a shield against the consequences of a documented and destructive reputation. The story of Trey Songz is a complex study in the evolution of modern celebrity accountability. We have looked at a decade of documentation, from the high-energy nightclubs of Manhattan to the clinical silence of a Miami legal settlement. Throughout this reconstruction, a central theme has emerged: the tension between a public persona built on desire and a reported reality defined by conflict. Is the narrative of Trey Songz one of a man unfairly targeted by a culture of accusation? Or is it the inevitable result of a decade of unchecked behavior? The reconciliation of his musical talent with the volume of allegations remains one of the most difficult puzzles in contemporary entertainment. As the industry's tolerance for erratic and aggressive behavior continues to shrink, the question of Neverson's legacy becomes more urgent. We are left to wonder if the Trigga persona was ever truly a performance, or if the boundaries between the stage and the street were simply never there to begin with. In a world where every nightclub worker and every industry peer has a platform to break their silence, the true test of a superstar is no longer how many records they sell, but whether they can survive the scrutiny of their own choices. After looking at a decade of court filings and public fallouts, what do you think? Are we witnessing a coordinated effort to take down a star? Or is the accumulation of reports simply too consistent to ignore? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more investigative deep dives into the side of the industry they don't want you to see, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.